Hello and welcome to the fourth Slow Ride Reviews podcast. I am Matt in Minneapolis.
This is Tim in Orlando.
And this is Spencer in Boston. Guys, I'm here.
You're here. I liked it because neither of you knew who was supposed to go second there.
No.
It was a good trick.
Well,
went too fast for you.
There's that. And then also I'm totally on my high horse right now because, guys, it's like 75 degrees and sunny right now, and I've been doing so much more riding than you guys. I mean, granted, Spencer's been riding a lot of mountain bikes in Moab, Utah, and we have nothing like that here in Orlando, except we shot a rocket once that went to the moon, I think. But so
it's pretty close.
That's all I've got.
Close. Well, you've been doing a lot of riding. That's important because we all are here to review some helmets we got from Specialized. And we each got different helmets. Tim, of course, went with, what'd you go with, Tim?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird, I really wanted the nice Aero, the vented Prevail, but they were out when we got asked by Specialized what helmet we wanted. So then, of course, naturally, I was like, well, if I can't have all the vented road, I want the full Aero Evade. And so I have the Specialized Evade too.
Wow.
Because you're a big roadie.
Full Aero, yeah. And it looks great out there on the bike.
Yeah. And Spencer, you're total enduro now. So what'd you get?
I have the Specialized Ambush in a nice kind of black and gray colorway. It has a little visor on the front. It's got some
up for me, Spencer, because I did notice the visor, but it has the perfect amount of mountain bike graphics on the side. Like it's kind of a well touched. Like, did it match your Traily Designs shirt when you were riding that?
It's subtle though.
Yeah,
it's not over the top mountain
gray.
bike.
No, it's real good, and the visor moves up and down. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
That's
nice.
As the sun raises and sets, I guess. I don't know.
I got the Porpero. I'm not sure how to say it. 3, because I am kind of roadie, kind of mountain bike, kind of practical. So I went with the in-between helmet.
Nice. So you guys
went with the in-between, but little guy, you're not selling the main thing here. And Spencer, I hate to interrupt. I know I never interrupt you, but little guy, you went with the working man's one, but come on, you're not like I have the all black. Spencer's got the nice mountain bike graphics.
Super Aero, yeah.
Come on, what really sets your helmet apart from the rest?
Well, one of the main selling points was that they had kind of a greenish teal, which is basically it's kind of an Astana blue, is what it is. It basically seems like they had some extra of the old Astana team helmets kicking around. Color-wise, and they look awesome. And I will say right up the top, and I've said this before on the regular podcast, that color is a hit. Because most helmets are black and white, especially riding it downtown as a courier.
Yep.
Secretaries, security guards I gotta talk to, all kinds of people are like, dang, nice. That's some flair. And everyone's a big Astana fan these days.
All right.
So, you get a lot of high fives, people going, Lutsenko, boom, high five.
They're like, oh man, you pick up the new album.
I don't think they ride Specialized anymore.
But yeah. So you got the Astana blue, basically. So
yeah, it looks awesome. The colors are sweet. That's my first bit of the review. Get the teal.
Yeah, so go all out for the color.
Okay.
And now, Spencer, where were you before I was so rude?
I was just going to mention mine. The Ambush here has MIPS involved in it.
Yeah.
I was curious if either of your helmets had that as well.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Can you explain MIPS to me?
So MIPS
I have the MIPS.
I do. I have MIPS. Oh my god.
Yeah. So we've all got the MIPS, which is great. That means they are ahead of the curve as far as putting that in all their helmets. MIPS is like a shell. A rotating kind of shell that sits inside. It's like suspension inside your helmet, basically.
Yeah.
So if you hit the ground, you have some twist available, so you're not smashing your brains around as much. The helmet hits the ground and sticks, whereas your head and neck can still turn a little bit while still being protected. Yeah.
You're probably the smartest of us when it comes to the helmets, because you've been in the industry and knowing a lot about this. Is the MIPS what makes, like, I understand that it protects against the kind of like the the lateral forces or whatever, right? Like provides the twist, if you will.
Yeah,
But
rotational, yeah.
Yeah, rotational. Thank you. This helmet to me is really, really comfortable, and I guess that's like my main takeaway of the review. Like the first thing I'm gonna say is, would the MIPS affect that at all, or is that completely different from the actual like cradling of the helmet, the head on the helmet?
No, it would affect it. Like how you integrate the MIPS in there. It kind of sits inside the shell, so it's going to change the shape of the helmet a little bit. So I would imagine the helmet without MIPS versus the helmet with are going to fit a little bit different. Shouldn't be super noticeable, but if you're picky, you might notice.
The other main takeaway here, and Spencer, you'll talk more about this later, is like the ANGi device that's added in. So Specialized is going to be adding this to all helmets, I believe, over that $150 threshold. So we'll talk more about the ANGi device, but I don't know how you guys want to go through. Like, I've got some just like kind of like the basic bullet points.
Well, why don't you mention what the ANGi is in a nutshell?
So basically, it's a crash sensor, right? So a while back, Specialized bought Ice Dot. You remember the old Ice Dot helmet?
Yeah, those big yellow, nasty looking things that you'd stick on your helmet.
Mm-hmm.
That technology, which is the crash detector, combines it with a ride tracker, and then basically you run it through the Specialized Ride app, which then you can connect to Strava. But it allows you to, worst case scenario, send out an alert if you have an incident, because if ANGi senses that you've had a crash, it basically gives you like a minute to respond to the app to say like, oh, everything's fine. Don't send out like the most harrowing text that you're ever going to send out to your loved one, right? Because it's basically saying, this is Tim's location. There's been an incident, and they're not calling the cops. They're not calling the ambulance, just saying, this is where Tim had an incident, call him or figure something out to your loved one that's identified.
Yeah, so all three of these helmets are equipped with that. They're all three equipped with MIPS, and they're all three a little bit different. Guys, how did you like your helmets?
I think my helmet, like Tim said, most comfortable helmet I've ever worn.
Really?
I will say, on first impression, I thought I looked a little mushroom heady in it. I really like the look of my helmet, and I'm getting used to it. I've been rocking it for like a month and a half every day at work, and it's kind of starting to, like, now when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I think I look good in it now. As at first, I wasn't 100% sold on that, but I will say, comfort-wise, the second it's on, I forget it's there, and that is, it is just
probably the
so
most
comfortable.
Important part of a helmet.
I don't know.
Right? Like, to me, it's the, like, forgetting it's on. So I'm with you on that, little guy. So
it's super light. It's just like, I got a big head, and this thing fits.
You do have
a
monster melon.
Yeah, for being a small guy, I've always had trouble with helmets. They always feel like they're pinching the top of my brain. I don't know. Like, I've had a lot of helmets, and it's like, I thought my previous helmet was comfortable, and then I got this one, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that helmet was really uncomfortable.
Years ago.
So that's my main takeaway. It's awesome in that respect.
When I became a bike courier downtown, and you guys remember that quite vividly. I didn't wear a helmet. And little guy, I believe you were the one that kind of got me into a helmet because you got hit by a car on Marquette. And then it was like, I need to get a helmet. And we had Spencer, Jim Oliver from the Minnesota United fandom, and just a friend of ours of the podcast. He had told me like, oh, you should get a Specialized because it's the most comfortable helmet you're ever going to wear. It's way more money, but you want it, like, if there's one thing you spend more money on, it's the helmet. And I was like, whatever. I'll just get what I can get through the catalog. And then this is my first Specialized helmet, and I'm like, man, that was really comfortable. Like, it's
15 years ago, you should have listened to someone's good advice.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I like about it right about, and then I'll get into some of like the cons. But the main pro to me is the ease of use of the sizing system in the back. It's just a very simple dial. It goes well. And secondly, it's like the first helmet I've ever had where like the straps were figured out before I put them on. Because sometimes
that
like
the
straps around the ears, I'm always like, wait, how are they supposed to bend? Like, are they supposed to go this way? And then they're like, they fuss out. And then I wear glasses, so I kind of like Sometimes I wear, I'll put on the contacts to wear the glasses over the straps. But when I'm wearing my eyeglasses, they're under the straps. I want like that to be kind of like close profile. They kind of had that figured out. Like it seemed like there was a lot of thought put in here. And then secondly, the ANGi, I didn't even know it was there. It's so small in the back. So like it's like not like the ice dot thing was pretty big. This is just a little device on the back that you're just like, oh, that's it. Like, okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's non-consequential to the helmet if you want to use it or not. So those are the main takeaways. Now, Spencer, you have a visor on yours. So I want to hear all about that.
Mine came with a visor too, Timmy.
It did?
I just took it off because I was on the road, and I'm pretty sure it's against the law to have a visor on if you're on the road.
Oh, okay.
It's probably advisable, actually, with the sun being so low winter-wise, but the roadie and me wouldn't let it. But Spencer was mountain biking, so...
No, I haven't been off-road on this one, actually. I've only ridden it back and forth to work for the last month or two, which is, where I'm most likely to get hit by a car anyway.
Yeah, that's the most likely you'll need a helmet.
Yeah, so... I've been using it there in the high stress situations, really putting it through its paces. But I was going to say, it's a comfortable helmet. It fits well. It adjusts easily, whatever. But nothing about it blew my mind. I was just like, oh, it's a helmet. It's what I would expect from a helmet of this caliber, right? Like it's not a $20 helmet. So I expect it to be comfortable. I expect it to function well and easily and whatever. And I was just sort of like, yeah, it's in the category of good helmets, like good quality helmets, until just now when Tim said that the straps were already adjusted, and I realized, dang, they were.
How did they do that?
I'm not sure, but that is always a giant pain in the ass. And this one,
that all three of us.
Yeah, this one.
I was really surprised. I took it out, put it on my head, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." It's set up, and I thought it was just dumb luck that it magically was like the way they all come. They just worked for my brain, but it worked for all of us.
It's very weird. It's a very weird realization I'm having right now in this moment.
Well, what's the weirdest part, Spencer? The fact that you're agreeing with me and I pointed out something cool, or the fact that you're like, "Wow, it was the helmet straps"?
No, I mean, I guess I'm just I'm just realizing that there's even after riding this every day for a month and a half, that there's things about it I didn't realize were good,
So we're reviewing. I mean, we've ridden a lot of different helmets over the years. I think it's just the way that it seems like there's a little bit more engineering into like the low hanging fruit of helmet straps on this than other helmets, and that's what kind of like my takeaway is. But Spencer, you had an actual experience with the ANGi, and I do think that needs to be touched on more than just what little guy and I talk about, because we haven't had to have the ANGi experience. So talk a little bit about that.
All right. So that was kind of the big weird different thing about this helmet than any other helmet I've had. It is a GPS sensor on the back that was going to alert somebody if I fell down, right? Like, so
which is going to be often.
Yeah. So I'm curious about this thing and how it works. And I got to say, after using it, it works pretty well. It does what it's supposed to do. Getting it to that point, not super easy or something I wanted to do. I could see people having troubles with this because, I mean, from the very get-go, I take it out of the box. It's really tough to get the battery case open. Like, unbelievably really hard to get the battery case open.
Is good in a way because it's not going to fall out while you're riding. But when I did that, I was like, the instructions tell you just do it with your hand, and I was like, there's no humanly possible way. Which I guess is good for when I'm riding down a bumpy trail. But but there needs to be a middle ground on that.
Now that I've gotten it off, it's much looser. Like it comes open and closed. I can do it with my hand, but like I don't know if there's something they can do in R&D there to solve that. But I spent a while being like, well, I guess I'm never going to use this because I can't get it open to set it up. Anyway. The second thing about it, which is more of a pain in the ass than any other helmet you're ever going to have, is that you have to download an app to...
It's a whole nother thing to download.
...set up this ANGi. Now, obviously, it takes 10 seconds to download an app. You log in, like, you set up your... you shake the helmet to turn it on. It connects via Bluetooth. That's all very simple and easy. It's not hard. but it's another thing you have to do, which, you know, if you're into this thing, if this is something you want, you're totally going to do it, and it's no big deal. If it's something you're not sold on, it's going to be a chore, another chore that you probably won't do for a while, you know? But, you know, for the sake of this review, I went through it. I did it. It wanted my credit card for, you know, next year's renewal. I canceled that. Still works. So we do get the free year when you get the helmet. So, you know, when it does ask you for that annual renewal subscription, you can just close out of that and not give them your credit card info. That was a big one for me. I thought, well, I guess I'm not testing this helmet. But
it's yes to all those. I guess that let me go over a little bit of my cons before I go over. There's only one con,
because I can get into the experience of actually using the app here next.
Sorry.
So it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to do it right now. You pop open your Ride app. I've got it right here. You guys can see. You got a record button down at the bottom. It's basically Strava. It's got a map of my neighborhood. It's got me GPS located. Here I am. I shake the helmet a little bit, get my green dot flashing, and it knows where I am. And we're ready to go, and I hit start ride. Now it's telling me how long I've been riding, how fast I'm going, yada, yada, yada. Now, in the event, I'm cruising along like this, you know, now I'm over here, and now I'm over here, and then I crash on the ground.
Oh, good Foley work.
Wow.
It gives me an alert.
You had 20 seconds.
I've got this countdown going.
And that is a bright red countdown.
It is loud, it is bright red, and if I tap to cancel, then I'm good to go. Now, if I didn't cancel that, it would text my wife, which it did the other day when I did the same test, and it sent her a text right away. Like the second this ran out, she got a text on her phone, and it said, "Hey, there's been an incident. Maybe check in on Spencer, see how he's doing." It wasn't big skull and crossbones like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, your husband has died." You know, it was pretty good. So
now, let me ask you
super
this.
easy.
Did she check in on you or did she not? And now you guys maybe are having like a little relationship issue because you were like, "Hey, the app told you I might have crashed." And she's like, you know, I just ordered a smoothie and I figured I'd finish that first or something.
Yeah, well, you never know how it's going to go in a real life situation. She did have eyes on me at the time. This was just a testing scenario.
Okay.
So
all right.
I really can't say for sure, but
because that's kind of I think it's you could use the ANGi just as a relationship test.
Yeah, that's possible.
So,
but I've got it linked to my Strava. So if I saved that ride where I just crashed here in the podcast green room, that would automatically upload to my Strava and all that good stuff. So it's really, you know, synchronized. It's integrated. It works really well, but it's another step. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where if you're in it for the safety, you're going to take that step, no problem. And if you're not, it's just an extra thing that you need to consider when you're getting a helmet with the ANGi system.
Well, and that's what has been expressed to us was that the idea is to lower that barrier. If like safety is a concern for you, now we have a solution on the safety because you'll know where your loved ones will know where you are while you're riding. Basically. Right. So like it lowers that barrier, which is great because someone's always going to create a barrier. Right.
And you can set it up to call whoever you want. It doesn't have to be your wife or whoever. Like it can call your neighbor or your ride buddy or whatever, you know, like, so it's very customizable. I like that feature about it. It's not calling 911 for me, which I'd be worried about right now if I had just done that here in the podcast studio. So yeah,
it's just it's to me personally, the number. Well, I like the helmet. It's super comfortable. This particular helmet, the Evade, I will give you guys a demonstration on what is kind of the con for me.
Didn't save enough watts.
That's
a
lot of it. Look. But I'm gonna put this on, and to me, it's just like you guys can see it now. The listeners can't. But just imagine Toadstool from Super Mario Brothers without the vents. That's why I wanted the vented helmet, right? Because aero helmets to me still look a little weird, and I'm not fast enough where the aero helmet is gonna work the best. Now, that being said, in the hot February sun of Florida, the venting on this thing, it's fine. Like I didn't really notice like a heat differential between this and the other one. Felt like the air was moving through just fine, and I felt content, and I wasn't overheating. But it's an aero helmet, and I would seriously consider looking at buying the Prevail for my next helmet versus this, just purely on the fit and the ease of the straps. I love the magnet buckle. Laser has the magnet buckle. This has the magnet buckle. I love that.
Oh, mine didn't have a magnet buckle.
Oh, yeah, I don't have the magnet buckle.
Oh, you guys didn't have the magnet buckle? All right.
No, but I like that because I don't like the magnet buckle. So I'm glad I bought a model that didn't come with the magnet buckle. My buckle was great, and it wasn't a magnet.
Yeah.
I love the magnet. And then, so overall to me, it's a good helmet. It's definitely in that upper tier of, because I'm going to consider it as part of like the Prevail option. So I would consider this as a definite buy. However, the ANGi device to me personally isn't a thing that's going to make me buy this helmet. And I think that's a personality thing. To me, it's just not a major selling point to me. I already log into various devices when I get back from a ride. The requirement of having kind of the smartphone running an app, most people would do that. Some rides, I don't have that on me. It's just not that's not the main selling point to me, but I understand why it's there, and it's noticeable. It's not noticeable Tim, if you even have it on there.
How do you stop and gram your ride if you don't have your iPhone on you?
It's a good question.
This doesn't make any sense.
It depends on who I'm riding with and when I'm riding. So,
right.
You just have a photographer that follows you.
That must be it.
At times there is a photographer, and how often I'm riding with the full smartphone, and also like I'm not one to always run the apps either, right? Like I never run the Strava app on the smartphone. I run it on my Garmin watch and then upload later. So that's just me personally. Like, and it's completely different. That's why I like the ANGi is pretty non-noticeable. It's like 10 grams, 20 grams. Like it's not something that like all of a sudden my head cocks to the left a little bit because it's on the left side of the helmet. You know what I mean? No. It's a great feature to have.
I don't notice it's there. No.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't notice it's there at all.
So
sure.
I would buy it again. On the pizza scale, I'd give it a good old fashioned banana peppers.
Okay. Pizza scale.
I don't remember what's bad and what's good. Definitely some sort of fake cheese. For me, that's good. So you should get it.
All right. And for me on the pizza scale, I'm going to say it is green olives. It's nice. Nothing wrong with it at all. Don't know if I want it every day, though.
Yeah, well, like a mountain bike.
Spencer, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And we can end with this here, but you did get the mountain bike version with the visor.
Right.
What is the so mine with the Aero helmet has a little bit of a tail that kind of comes off the back, right?
Yeah.
The mountain bike helmet, is that going to be a little bit like that? The protection goes lower on the
it comes all the way down. Yeah.
Comes down.
Okay. And does that interfere when you're riding with your Camelback, or just everything fine?
Nope, everything was
question,
fine.
Spencer. You don't have to answer that. Right. You don't have to incriminate.
Doesn't affect my backpack when I'm commuting to work either. So anyway, I just wanted to run through these real quick. The ambush that I got with ANGi, $200 retail on specialized.com. The Porpero, whatever it is you got there.
I think you have to say with a little Italian flair. Porpero.
Yeah, that one's $130 with ANGI. So that's
screaming deal at
that's
$130.
Pretty good deal. And the S-Works Evade with ANGi, $275, Tim. $275. So that is what we're working with here with the ANGi equipped Specialized helmets.
Yeah, thanks Specialized for having us test them out. And if you have any questions, feel free to send them to us in our via slowridepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter @slowridepod.
All right, should we move on to another section of this show?
Yeah. And Spencer, I gotta admit, I'm pretty excited about this section.
I thought you might be.
All right.
I haven't told you guys much about this yet, but as you know, I've been thinning the herd. I've talked about it on the main show about my N-1 obsession lately, getting rid of bikes, moving things out. But I've also I've also added a bike.
Mm-hmm. That's how it usually goes. You notice a little bit of space in the basement, huh?
Yeah, but I bought a used bike, you guys. So it was good. It was a good deal. But I got it online, and I did not get it from eBay.
Oh, you did not?
Where'd you?
Because normally you buy your bikes from eBay.
Normally, I'm perusing the junkers on eBay and getting something showing up in the mail that's a little more beat up than the photos may have led you to believe. The components are a little more worked. They got a little more than never crashed 200 miles on them. That every eBay ad says. And we are, of course, ad writing experts, as Tim can attest to, with the Nissan Versa.
Of course, we are talking about the Pros Closet.
.com. They are advertised everywhere. They advertise through a lot of bike shops. They have a program there where you can trade up, where you can just send them some pictures of your current bike, and they'll buy it from you. They'll give you a price that they're willing to pay, and they'll put that as store credit at your bike shop, so you can put your used bike towards a new bike, which is the first way that I heard about them, which is pretty cool. You can also put that store credit or that amount they offer you towards a bike on their website, and they've got a whole bunch of different used bikes. So I want to talk about that process because I sold them a bike and I bought a bike from them. So I've gone through both sides, yeah, and I'd never done it before, so it's a little up in the air about how it would go, but super easy. I sent them 2 pictures of my Niner. So I sold them the Niner, the mountain bike, the Schwamigan winning mountain bike.
Sure.
Pretty sure if we look at the rules, that bike won. Anyway, I sent them a picture of the whole bike from the drive side and a picture of the whole bike from the non-drive side. And that was it. That's all they needed. And they got back to me within 24 hours.
That was it?
With a quote, with a price they were willing to pay, and a price they were willing to give me in store credit at my local shop. It's about $100 difference, I'd say, between the two. Like, most of the time, I want to support the local bike shop. This time, I was looking to spend as little as possible. So I wanted to get a used replacement bike, and my local shop doesn't sell used bikes. They only deal in new bikes. So I started perusing their website and found something I liked, dropped it in my cart, paid for it with PayPal and my credit, and it was awesome. And it took, as long as anything buying online takes, a couple of minutes. 3 days later, I had a bike at my front door, packaged to the nines. Like,
sounds easy.
Like a brand new bike would show up. Like, not like some eBay guy went to the bike shop and got a half busted box and taped it together with 3 pieces of tape and threw some packing peanuts in there. Like, this thing was decked out, foam on everything, all zip tied together, like everything, nothing was moving in that, but like nothing was going to get mussed up or broken. You guys know when I shipped my own,
pain in the ass type of box opening, right? Like it's so well packed that you're like, oh, I need
that's a price I'm willing to pay. As you guys know, when I shipped my own bike, that very same Niner to Minneapolis for the Schwamigan, I broke a spoke in shipping because I didn't pack it very well. So none of that going on here. It was super smooth, super awesome. I got the bike built up. It really only came with like the handlebars off and the front wheel off. Rear wheel was on in packaging, so it took about 5 minutes total to put this bike together and be in a rideable condition, which was fantastic. So A+ all the way through for the selling process and for the buying process. They sent me a shipping label as well to get them my bike when I sent it to them. So all I had to do was box up my bike. That was it. I didn't have to pay for anything. I didn't have to do anything as far as getting them the Niner. And then my new bike.
How do they determine the cost?
I don't know. They must have some buyers or maybe an algorithm or something.
Algorithm? Yeah, okay.
But
I mean,
Yeah.
they've been around for a while, though, right?
Yeah, they must.
They've
have
been
some
around
market
for a
data.
while. I don't know exactly when they started, but
I always see the ads in back of Bicycle Retailer that like
Yeah.
they're hiring like a new like photographer or copywriter.
it's a really interesting concept. Like, and I was sure that they were going to lowball me super hard on the bike. I was just curious what they'd give me for it. And, you know, if I had sold it on Craigslist, I probably could have got $2 or $250 additional, you know, for that Niner. Like,
But then you have the hassle.
but then I
dealing
have
with
to
Craigslist.
hassle. Then I have to pull
So-
it out of the garage and clean it up and meet somebody and like go back and forth. And it probably take a month to even get a couple of bites on it. So it takes all of the hassle out, which was awesome.
I
And-
would love to see like the business plan here, like how much they're making on the margin from you, right? Like buying that bike and then how they like extend that out. Because obviously they're making money when you're buying stuff in the in-store Pro Closet
Yeah.
credit. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So overall, the selling process to you and the buying was pretty spick and span.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't worried about buying a bike online. Like I said earlier, I bought plenty of bikes on eBay. I kind of know what to expect, but I was impressed with the product that showed up. It was in really good shape. I took it over to the bike shop after I built it up, and they went through it, and they were actually caught an issue on the bike, that the rear derailleur was a little messed up, like it wasn't working perfectly. And I emailed Pro's Closet about that. I said, hey, the bike shop's saying this thing's a little wonky. What's up with that? They emailed me back and said, that's no good. We're going to call the bike shop, check in on this. And, you know, if it is, you know, if it is messed up, then we're going to send you out a brand new one. And they did.
A brand new bike?
No, brand new rear derailleur. So,
Okay. Wow.
yeah, they called up the bike shop. They
Shram
talked.
Eagle.
Yeah, they talked to the mechanic
Well, that's
there. He
awesome,
was like,
though,
yeah,
that
this
they were
thing's screwed up
so, into it.
XYZ way. And they said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. We're just going to ship them a new one. And it's all done. So all buttoned up, even with a weird kind of customer service issue. They came through on that end as well. I really can't recommend it enough. It was,
Well, because if you would have sent me a bike and I would have went to the bike shop to say the rear derailleur was a little messed up, your response to me would have been like, you know, get the
no
hell out of here.
returns. Yeah, no refunds. Sorry. eBay rules. Yeah.
That's cool that you had good luck with the returns. I've purchased 2 frames from them, and I had no problems. I can attest what you said. The packaging is over the moon. Yep. It's tight. It's great. No problems. It was great. Everything was exactly as they said it was, and prices were good, man. Prices were really good. I know I'm buying weird old Canty stuff, but still, it wasn't like I was paying a little extra because they had it or because it was just so easy and quick. Prices were good. I will say it was a little harder to build mine up because it was just a frame, and so I'm going to knock them a little bit for that. I think maybe they could have sent somebody over to my house, maybe help me.
It's possible.
I feel like maybe on that end, their customer service is a little bit lacking. I don't know. Like I had to put all my own components on it, and I was like,
wow, I keep seeing more and more ads for them. That's a pretty promising review, Spencer and Little Guys. So
it's worth checking. They got a lot of stuff on eBay too all the time. You know, like you can go to their website or on eBay, and they've got a lot of stuff. And Spencer totally underselling it. They've got a bike museum on their website. They've got a mountain bike and a road bike like museum on their website with a bunch of bikes from the 70s through today, just like a modern rock radio station. But they've got like old salsas, just in the same way of like First Flight bikes. They've got a sweet just collection of amazing sort of important bikes in the history of bike development. It's pretty cool.
Someone had I was going through that, and they had like a Klein Attitude on there, so I knew I was like stoked. They had the full like Gator Fade build out with the matching stem, mission control stem. So
nice. Well, if you're looking to move an old bike, I would recommend it. You're definitely not going to get the offer that you think it's worth. Keep that in mind. It's gonna be a little less, but it's not going to be brutally less. I was impressed. I Was expecting them to way undercut, and it came in reasonable. And for the trade-off of not having to deal with eBay or Craigslist, I think in the end it's definitely worth it. So something to check out.
So on the pizza scale,
it's getting extra pepperoni.
Wow. Well, guys, I think we slayed kind of two things, and we've got quite the queue of additional things coming in. If anyone has any ideas for other reviews, make sure you email us at theslowridepodcast@gmail.com. And you can also hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at theslowridepod. So nice alternatives for you to check out. And as always, we're a member of the Wide Angle Podium Network. So please head over to wideanglepodium.com. There's lots of things happening over there. Lots of great shows on the network. And yeah, that's all I've got. So I can't wait for my next ride. I'm just also sandbagging you guys a little bit because the next race we're going to do, I might have the Aero helmet, and then you're definitely not going to be catching me.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see if that gives you those extra watts that you've been searching for.
Well, if it's Schwamigan again, I'm going to have this ambush helmet with the ANGi and my new carbon pivot. So gonna smoke you guys.
Well,
nice.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll have another one of these out maybe in a month or so if we get our next reviews done. I've been mad at Minneapolis.
This is Tim in Orlando.
And this is Spencer in Boston, reminding you to always wave, because that's what we remind you to do on the other show.